Hello. Oh, hi. So we are live. I think audience can see us now. Am I audible to you, Francis?
Yes.
Hello. We have problems with the sound that is breaking a little bit, but okay.
Hector, are you able to hear me properly?
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So it's a special day. It's World Book Day, and we, as audience, are blessed to have you here. I'm just trying to introduce both of you to our regional audience. So we have authors of a very famous book named Ikigai. This is the book. So this book has sold more than 1 million copies across the world during the past 2 years. The name Ikigai means the happiness of always being busy. These two authors, they spend a lot of time with people in Japan, especially in a city called Okinawa, where people have high life expectancy rate. So they studied them and they shared the secrets through this book. And today they have a sequel to the first book, and DC Books have published the same in our regional language. So this is a practical guidance to the first book, the Ikigai. So I think I have prepared a few questions so that we'll be more enlightened to know about the book. So Francis is joining us from Barcelona, right?
Yes.
And Hector from Japan.
I'm from Tokyo.
Tokyo, yeah. So my first question is to Francis. How the second book is different from the first one? Because Ikigai, when I read 1 year before, it was all about concepts and ideas of Ikigai.
Yes.
So how the book is different from the first one, and what was the process that you followed while writing this?
Okay. I am leaning here because I'm hiding from the sun. The first book was our general investigation about Okinawa and the village of the centenarians. And we wrote an introduction to the concept, to the psychology of purpose, of flow, of many questions, generally speaking, about the purpose of life, about Ikigai. And many readers, they asked us to have more exercises, to have a practice with this. They said, how can I find my Ikigai? There is some exercises that can I do? And then we wrote the second book, the Ikigai Journey, that it's totally practical and it's a workbook. It's something that the readers use to go forward with the developing of their purpose. So first book is an introduction to the concept. Second book is a working book for everyone to go in the way of Ikigai.
Okay, great. So for a reader, should he read first the first book, then the second book, or he can directly go to the second book he wants if he wants?
You can start with random, whatever you feel. I think even like the second book, I think it's better because we have more experience writing, and we wrote it because we left many things unsaid in the first book. So it's in the first book we never tell you how to find your Ikigai. In this book we are telling you how to find it. So I think it's much more powerful. In the first one is like we establish the philosophy. In this one we are guiding you on how to find your Ikigai in 35. It has 35 lessons. And it's not like lessons that you have to study, but it's like you are traveling with Francesc and me around Japan. So it's a structure in stations that you can visualize and travel with us around Japan. So that's why it's called the Ikigai Journey. It's a journey around Japan to find your Ikigai.
Okay. So which one took more time to write or more effort to write? The first one or the second one?
More or less the same. It takes us around 1 year to do all the writing and editing and everything. Yeah, it's like 1 year.
the first book needed from us to travel to Okinawa, to go north to this Yambaru park where this village is, and recording all the interviews. So the first book was more a work of anthropologists, going there, talking with the people. We did a little video also. And the second book was reflecting about what we had learned and searching for the tools that could be more useful for the readers.
Okay, great. So my second question is directly to Hector, since he is from Japan. See, I made a small relative research, and I could find some similarities between Kerala, where original people are living, and Japan. For example, life expectancy is very high in Japan, and the same here with Kerala. Kerala is having the highest life expectancy in India, Kerala people. And the second thing, there is a Japanese art form named kabuki. I think that's the right pronunciation. A dance form. We have something similar like Kathakali in Kerala. And even you have martial arts like judo, karate, and kendo. And we have something called Kalaripayat, which is called as mother of all martial arts. And
really? You have to teach me. I don't know that.
Even I don't know, but there are plenty of videos available. I hope so. So, and one strange similarity which I found, and that's the reason for my question. Japan is also leading in high suicide rates. And Japan also have people with high longevity. The same thing happens in Kerala as well. Our suicide rates are high compared to other provinces or states. So why this strange relation, or what could be the reason where people with high longevity, people where they live in general have high longevity, and the suicide rates are also high. So do you have any guidance or suggestions to how to prevent this kind of wrong thoughts, but which can lead to suicide?
Very good question. So yeah, that's why our books are written thinking about the lifestyle in the countryside in Japan, not in the cities. In the cities is very similar. I think Tokyo, I was in Mumbai 2 years ago. Tokyo is very similar lifestyle with Mumbai, lots of stress. And yes, like suicide rate is very high in Tokyo. So that's why we study the Ikigai and the lifestyle of the elders in the countryside in Japan. There is, in fact, people in Tokyo buy our book to learn about their old lifestyle in the countryside. So that's why you have to think, and I guess in India is the same. Like people have longer lifespan in the countryside. They have a more relaxed lifestyle, and they are more connected with nature, and probably that there is a tension now happening in India, like everywhere in the world, where there is the city life, which is very exciting, but there is also the country lifestyle, which is more relaxed. And maybe I think when you are young, it's more fun to be in a big city. But when I think about my future, I think I prefer to be in the countryside. And yeah, we start the philosophy of Ikigai thinking about, maybe Francesc can explain this. If you have no meaning in life, like suicide is a very dangerous thought to have, but it can be a starting point. What is the reason why you want to keep living? It can be the kickstarting point of your Ikigai.
Okay. Francis, if you can add more to it.
Yes. Hector is totally true. People living in the cities, sometimes or often they have more problems about finding purpose because we don't have space in cities. Work is in the center of our lives. Everything is urgent. We must run from here to there. And then you lose contact with nature, with yourself, with your purpose, with your natural talents that maybe you started developing when you were a child. And because of that, in Europe, there was the logotherapy that was in the 40s, in the last century, started this work of Viktor Frankl of logotherapy, that is the therapy of finding a meaning in life, that we dedicate a whole chapter in Ikigai, because many people living in the cities, in the end, they feel a big void inside that say, okay, I am running here to there, I am paying my bills, I am doing what I am supposed to do, but why I am here? So finding your Ikigai is recovering this contact with yourself and finding the big why in your life. And when you find a reason to live, when you find your Ikigai, then you can overcome all the difficulties much better, because then you have this little engine that is in the center of your life and moves you forward. And even if you don't like so much your job, if you have an Ikigai, if you have a passion, and you dedicate some time every day, even if it is only 1 hour, it gives meaning to the rest of the day.
Okay, so I think in general, the first book explain about Ikigai, and the second book would help you to find your Ikigai, which is the purpose of your life. And if you find your purpose in life, maybe you find a meaning in living. I think that's a wonderful answer given by both of you. And I have another question. The book Ikigai is written based on a research that you guys did among the people in Okinawa. So whether the findings from them, can we apply that to other regions? For example, it's mentioned about food habits, climate change, environment. So these things are different from region to region. So learnings made from a group of people or from a region, can they be applied successfully into other regions? Anyone can choose to answer.
So you mean how to apply these things in for example, in a city life?
Not exactly, but listen, in Ikigai, the first part talks about Harahachibu, the 80% food rule.
Yes.
So our food habits are different. Our climate conditions.
Yeah, but I think in India you're very good with this. At least until now, I don't know what's happening. I didn't see many fat people in India. The trend might be changing, but yeah, that's the rule is like you should stop eating when you're feeling 80%.
Yeah.
And then and also you have turmeric in Indian food.
Turmeric, yeah.
And turmeric is a common in Okinawa. They also eat lots of turmeric. Okay. And they drink turmeric tea. That's also Okinawan thing. And I think it's one of those things that protect you from cancer and other illnesses. So we have to learn also from, in fact, now Francesca and me, we are studying a lot Indian culture. We are very interested in India. It's our new hobby too. So I want to know more about the martial art that you said, and Indian food and Indian diet. I think it has also many secrets.
Ayurveda.
Ayurveda. Yeah. Sometimes when you are living in your place, you don't know your own secrets. So it's important to know them when you start comparing with other places. So I think turmeric is one of the common things.
Yeah, the same thing happens with meditation as well. I think meditation, the thing got originated from India, and people outside India are more practicing it, and we are not much into it. So about this question, the same question, I talked in general where there are many things that are discussed in it. The kind of exercises, the kind of community culture. It also discusses about stress. So all those principles, I think the second book will indeed help our audience to practice it in a better way. So coming to the other question, in the book, it's mentioned stress is the killer of longevity. Stress is the killer of longevity. Yes. And I recently read that people who use social media for more than 3 hours, the chance of depression and stress is high. in the book also, you guys have written that in the olden times, in the caveman period, stress happened once in a while, like when an animal about to attack you, you produce stress hormones. But these days, even a notification can give you stress.
Yes.
So during this lockdown period,
deactivate your notifications. That's the first lesson.
So during this lockdown period, people have only one need to be live. That is nothing but social media. So the stress level is high. So especially when they are in stress. So you have any tips or guidelines to talk to the young people out there about managing stress and connected with social media usage?
So yes, so there are many. We give some hints in our books, but now I think there is a whole category of books that give you advice on this. We have some tricks, like for example, it depends on. I think my advice number one is that for social media, it's better to be a producer of content than a consumer. So if you are a producer of information on social media, you will be on the top one, and it will become a tool for your life. You will become a leader in the social media. So instead of consuming, you start creating content on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. And then the second one is what you said, you deactivate notifications. And the third one, you create a space for yourself. For example, you say Saturday and Sunday is like no social media day. And you are not allowed to do it. Or even better, if you're stronger, you set every day like just 15 minutes for social media. And you do it, it's like eating food. You are not all day eating food. You are at the time you eat food, so you do the same thing. Like you say, okay, this 15 minutes is for social media, and I will be posting one picture here. I will be posting a blog post here, and I will not be consuming it more than maybe Francis can give other tricks.
Yes, the Americans talk about the digital diet, and the thing is to have a schedule. The bad thing, technology is good because, especially during these pandemics, we have talked with family, with friends, we have worked in distance, and it was okay. But the problem is when this tool becomes a chain, and you are all day, hour per hour, looking what happens in this little screen. So if you have a schedule and you decide, for instance, that you are going to see the email 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, then it is okay. And then when you decide 2-3 hours before going to sleep, putting off all the devices and then relaxing, having conversation with your family, reading a paper book, and preparing for a good sleep, then it is okay. The problem is when all these technologies are become our boss. And so the cell phone is our boss, and we must work to answer every message, every input, everything, because it's a lot of sustained stress. Cortisol goes very high, and then it's a very stupid way to be stressed, because actually this is not a work. Sometimes we have the impression that when we get a mail or a message or something, we must answer immediately because we live right now in the time of the immediate response. But actually, if you answer tomorrow, nothing happens. If you're a doctor and you call me and somebody is dying, it's okay that I ran. But if I receive some message from anyone telling something, it's okay if I answer tomorrow morning. So I think we must learn it. This is very new, all this kind of living. It has only 20-25 years, and we must learn still how to handle with this, to be human, and to have the machine as something that serves us, not the other way that.
Okay. Yeah, wonderfully answered. So I have had this question from my friends. They asked me to ask you the same. Like, what is your ikigai? What makes you busy? We would like to hear from both of you.
Yes.
What would be your ikigai? So
my ikigai, or one of my ikigais, is writing the best I can. So hopefully, readers from all around the world will read my works, and I will
Great.
inspire them and lead them to have better lives.
Cool.
My
Francis,
ikigai, I would say that nowadays my ikigai is helping other people to find their ikigai, and a more personal one, something for me maybe, is this is not part of my profession, but I love writing songs and playing them for
Wow.
my friends. This is an alternative ikigai for me.
So I have another question, like, can the ikigai be changed over time? For example, I worked in a corporate world 4 years before. I didn't like the job. Initially, I liked it, then I hated it. Then I rejoined, and now I'm a radio jockey. My ikigai now is content creation. I have written 2 books. I talk to people through radio. There may be a point of time where I find it boring. It could be. So, can ikigai be changed over time?
Yes, ikigai can change with the time, every time that the conditions of your life change. So logically, it's different the ikigai of a child from the one of a teenager. And it's different from the ikigai from somebody in university than from somebody working, when you are alone or when you are married. And then every time that something important happens in your life, that maybe you move to another city, you change profession, you start a brand new life, ikigai changes, because ikigai has to do with your point of view in life. So if you, for instance, have a long sickness, something that changes your way of living, then you're going to change your purpose. And we have many examples. For instance, the Mexican painter Frida Kahlo, she discovered that her ikigai was painting after a very big accident, and she stayed a lot of months in bed trying to recover herself, and then she could reflect about her life, and then she decided that she wanted to dedicate her whole life to the fine arts. And I think it's happening now with the pandemic, that because the world stopped, many people is rethinking what they want to do with the rest of their lives. So I would say that ikigai can change when we get to the end of a path that we feel that we have given everything to something and we need to start something new, or when some crises come. Moments of crisis are moments of changing of purpose, of priorities. And also when you get retired and you finish your official working life, then you must look for another ikigai, because you have a lot of time and you need to fill it with meaning. So there are many moments in life in which we will have to cross a desert and find a new meaning for our lives.
Oh, great. Yeah, one more question related to ikigai only, as in people always ask this question while I'm doing my radio show. Sometimes I get calls, and one of the most prominent question is, "How can you be happy always? Is that concept real? Can we be happy
That's
always?"
impossible. That's impossible. Then you would be not human. That's the human condition. You have to be a little bit unhappy to be happy later. It's like human. Like your mood changes over time. What is important is not to be all the time unhappy. That's the important thing, right? But if you aim to be always happy, that's unrealistic. I think no human being. If someone says he's always 100% happy, it's probably lying. It's like probably acting and saying, "Yeah, I'm happy all the time," but inside, no. So I would say it's a nice balance that your mood changes over time. The important thing is when realize that if you've been like 3-4 months very frustrated and very unhappy all the time, that's when you have to say, okay, I have to change something in my life, like you did with your corporate job. Probably you were many months feeling, oh no, I don't feel. Yeah, I think that's why we think like purpose is before. If you have no purpose, if you have no ikigai, then it is very difficult to feel happiness. We think that's why we never talk about happiness directly, because it's a very difficult subject. Maybe we think that ikigai is more fundamental than happiness.
Yeah.
If you have no ikigai, it is very difficult to feel. You will be able to do some pleasurable things. Maybe you can drink, I don't know, wine or eat chocolates and feel some pleasure. But without ikigai, it's very difficult. That's why if you work on your ikigai, it will be easier for you to feel happy.
Okay, very well answered.
Maybe Francis has more. He knows more about happiness.
I would say that happiness, this is not something permanent. Sri Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama already told it 2,500 years ago. Happiness is something that comes and goes, and it depends on things that happen in life. You can be very happy, and then your mother is very ill and you are unhappy, and it's natural and human to be unhappy. But as a tendency in life, normally happiness is a result of your way of living. If you are not living accordingly with your heart, with your ideas, with your priority, with your ikigai, if you are living for others, if you are not living for yourself, if you don't feel that you are doing useful things for the world, you will be almost always unhappy. But if you are connected to your purpose and you're helping the others, you're helping your family, you're helping your neighbors, you're doing a good job, you're listening to the others, if you are a loving person, you will have some peaks of unhappiness. But the rule will be happiness, because this is the result of a conscious life. It's a life of realization. And for a human being, realization is being useful to the others. So if you are useful to the community, to your partner, to your family, then you feel that your presence in life is meaningful. But if you are not doing all the things and you are just living to pay bills and to run here and there, then you can feel this void that it's connected to unhappiness. So you cannot be always happy, but you can live in a happy way so that you are the most of the time in the good mood.
Thank you. So one final question from my side, then we will deal with questions from the audience. So now that we are facing a very tough situation back in India, the corona issues are shooting up like anything. Most of the people are inside their houses. So do you have any message or any guidelines to share with the people who are listening now? Because we are more or less locked inside. So anything that you want to tell us?
Okay, we can say something both. I would say that this coronavirus situation, it's like a global retreat. So before this situation, there were some people, especially in India, who made a retreat, a guru, a person that goes to a meditation camp, to some ashram, to think and to purify yourself. Now the situation came to the whole humanity. Now we are all of us are in a standby, in a situation of pause. So I would say to all the people who is listening to us that we can take advantage of this situation to prepare ourselves for the future, because this situation will have an end, like everything that happened in history. World wars had an end, other pandemics had an end, all the horrible things that happened. There was an ending for that and a new beginning, and that our mission right now, from where we are, is to prepare ourselves as well as we can for the new beginning that will come.
Great.
Hector,
if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm also at home for, I think, Japan was the second country to start Corona, so I've been at home since February last year. So it gets boring, so I understand. And for creative, I feel like it's contradictory. Like when I'm home, I get less creative. I think it's important to. So I think many creative people are struggling now because you're supposed to have lots of time to do your creative. Maybe you have lots of time to paint, to create music, to learn to play music, to write if you're a writer. But I realize that even I have lots of time, I don't feel creative. I think there is something about moving around the world that makes us creative. It's so social life, traveling, meeting people is very important for creativity. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel a little bit bored now, all the time at home.
Yeah. Now I think we can take questions from the audience. We'll just wait for their questions.
Mm-hmm. What? Again, please?
Questions from the audience. So you can see one question on the screen.
You will have a period of time, but you won't have a joyful life, I guess. You will be happy for a period of time, but you won't have a joyful. But what is the question?
It's like the guy is asking, after reading maybe the book, a good things, or after listening to a good speech, you can be happy for a period of life, period of time. Then everything is backwards. Why is it so?
I think if you have many periods of time in which you are happy, you will have a joyful life. What you cannot pretend is to be always happy. There was, I think it was a French writer who said that to be permanently happy, you need to be stupid, because it means that you don't see the things that are happening around you. But I think the key thing is to know what depends on you and to do the good things that depend on you, and don't try to put effort in things that don't depend on you. So when you are responsible of your life, of your work, of your relationships, of your ecosystem, you can be happy many times a day and many days a week. And this is an addition that in the end, you can have a more or less joyful life. But if you are waiting that the pandemics finish, that a best time comes, that I find a girlfriend, that I have more money, that my back stops hurting me, then I will never be happy, because I am putting happiness outside myself. I am putting happiness in external conditions. But there are a lot of things, and Indian people know it very well, because you are a very spiritual tradition with you. There are many things that depend on yourself and your way of your interpretation of reality. So what we must focus every day is in doing these things that depend on every person.
Okay. So we'll go for the next question, if any. Let's wait.
No. Hector will answer
that. This question is like, from the age of 1 till the age of 30, 1%, I think it's a woman, she has only her God with her. She has a lot of people around her, but she's still alone. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
She feels alone.
Yeah. Being lonely among the crowd.
That's very interesting. I would say that I think people feel lonelier, more lonely in the cities than in the small places, because you see a lot of people. You can be surrounded by many people, but maybe you feel that you don't connect with the wishes of the majority of people that is around you. So being with a lot of people or having contact with a lot of people, what happens nowadays with the social media, it doesn't mean that you feel it as a company. Maybe your soul is alone because the things you would like to express, there is nobody who can understand it. Then I would say Hector can add something to this woman, that she should do some work to express these feelings. Maybe writing, maybe making music, maybe painting. What is easier for her to find a way of expressing what is feeling inside her. And then try to find somebody or a small group of work that are interested in the same topics.
Right. Okay. I'll just tell that in original language. With that. So ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പോ ചോദ്യം ചോദിച്ച കുട്ടിയോട് പറയുന്നത് ഇയാൾ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി ആയിട്ട് എഴുതുക എന്നതാണോ, പെയിന്റിംഗ് ആണോ, ഉള്ളിലെ ഫീലിങ്സിനെ എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഒരു ആർട്ട് ഫോമോ പാട്ടോ എഴുത്തോ വരയോ കണ്ടെത്തുക. അതിനുശേഷം അതേ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഉള്ള, എഴുത്ത് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള, വര ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള, പാട്ട് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള അതേ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളുകളെ കണ്ടെത്തുക. സ്ലോലി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്നാണ് ഇവർ പറയുന്നത്. സോ വിൽ ഗോ ഫോർ ദി നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ.
There are so many teens suicides now, the rate is very high. Yes, this is a very interesting question, because it's not only in Kerala, it's in Barcelona, it's in Tokyo, it's in England, in Germany, everywhere. Actually, I work in a national newspaper in El País, and the journalists, we have the rule of not commenting about suicides in our articles, because it gives ideas to many people, young people who are suffering and having this kind of thoughts. And this is called the call effect. And why happens that? I think this high rate of suicides is because many teenagers have the meaning that they must accomplish a lot. There is a very strong competition. Japan is especially strong with that. There is a very strong competition to go to the best schools, to go to the best universities, to get a good job, to earn money. And when you are very young and you are in love and your hormones are a chaos, it can be too much for you. And I think what the parents can do to release this stress in the teenagers is to tell our kids, this is okay, don't take it too seriously, don't try to choose your career at the first option. You can try different things. It's okay to have mistakes. It's okay if you need to change your path. You are not in a hurry. And I think the parents should give the children, to allow them to be what they are and to live the way they wish, without this obligation of society to be successful. If you take a person who is 15, 16, 17 years old, and you convey this person the obsession to be successful, it can be, if this person is very sensitive, it's a very delicate person, this person can collapse. So what we must do, we must help our children, the youngsters, to be happy, to follow their passions. And success and money and power, it can come afterwards. But give them the freedom to be young and to make experimentation and to be free, I would say.
Right. So I think we can take.
We have a concept in Japanese. It's called Wabi-Sabi. We explain it in the book too, and it basically says what Francesc said. It's okay to be imperfect. So yeah, like these days we see all these, like we have to be successful. You can see in this stream that Francesc and me, we are imperfect. Our books look very cool, but you can see Francesc is wearing, I don't know, I'm wearing an old t-shirt. I should have shaved. I noticed it's imperfect. We are not very good in public speaking because we are writers. but that's okay. That's okay. Every human has their own things, and sometimes the imperfection is what makes us the most interesting. I think my most interesting friends are the ones that have some personality quirk or something that makes them amazing. I don't know. So yeah, your imperfections can be superpowers, and when you realize that, then maybe that can give you hope. And if you're in this situation that you're feeling like, okay, there is no, the first thing to realize is that I have the metaphor that you might be depressed and you are like in the bottom of the ocean and it's very dark and you're looking down to the bottom of the ocean. And that's the worst, that you have zero ikigai, you have no meaning in life. And that can lead I'm going to say the word again, to suicide. But something that can help you is that you can look up a little bit, not to the bottom of the ocean, and you will see that there is a hope, there is a little bit of light coming, and then you have to start diving to get out of the ocean, and that might take time. Don't think that, okay, I will wake up tomorrow and I will be super happy and have meaning in my life. But at least have the intention to look up and say, okay, there is hope there. There's a little bit of light. I'm going to do something every day to move forward. And then one day you will be out of the ocean. And I think hope is a very powerful. Frances has wrote novels about hope. It's very powerful.
I think,
so
Hector,
never lose hope.
Hector used a very beautiful image, this dipping to the light. And we could say the same. A psychiatrist, a young psychiatrist that I was interviewing for a book, she told me something very similar to this metaphor that Hector has used, that when you are in darkness, there are two ways to be in darkness. You can feel in the bottom of a hole, like there is no way out, and you are inside the hole and you cannot go, you cannot move. Or you can feel you are in a tunnel, and if you are in a tunnel, there is light at the other side, and you can walk to the light. So when we feel in darkness, when we have problems, when we feel depressed, think that you are in a tunnel, that we must go on walking, and that there is sun at the end.
Right. Yeah. We will take two more questions and we'll wind it up. So we'll wait for them.
How to prevent being bored of what you have enjoyed once, passion, ikigai. I think boredom is a very dangerous. Yes.
I think let me start. It is not dangerous. It's good. It's good. Like being bored is a very good thing. Like we have. It's again, like Frances said, we have so many things these days that we feel like we have to be all day doing things. Like I have nothing to do. I have to watch Netflix. I have to go to social networks. If you're feeling bored, like stay like 5 minutes. Oh, how does it feel to be bored? And think about it. And usually when I feel bored, very bored, I start doing crazy things. That's my reaction. I don't know if, and sometimes I find when I'm bored, for example, I go and buy 3 or 4 books of people that I don't know who the writer is. And maybe it's a book about something I'm not interested. But then I start reading this book and I discover something new. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I'm very bored and I watch a movie that I don't want to watch, a very bad movie. But maybe there is something interesting in the movie and then I start. So usually for me, boredom is something that it helps me to find new things in my life. If I'm not bored, I keep doing the same thing. And then it's like after a while, okay, I've been doing the same thing for months. So, and then suddenly I'm bored, and that's like I think it's a good signal for change. So maybe Frances has something.
Let's think in people who is training their brain. doing meditation, no? The Indian traditions of meditation, or the modern mindfulness, or the Japanese Zen. This is a training of boredom, because you are sitting in front of a wall, doing nothing, and it's so difficult for us to do nothing because we are hyperactive. We are trying always to fill the gaps. The Romans, 2,000 years ago, they had an expression for that. They talked of horror vacui, and it means the fear of emptiness. And this fear of emptiness makes that we put in our calendar, in our agenda, many, many things. And nowadays, children, they have agendas of ministers. There is something for every hour. There is something for... Then you go to school, and then you have extra school activities, and then you have a sport, and then you go there. And adults also. We try to fill every second, every minute with activity, even if it's TV. And this because, not because we are afraid of boredom, but we are afraid of free space that will put questions to our lives, like, what do I want to do with my life? This is the kind of life that I want to follow. What is what I want from life? Then boredom is the beginning of great questions and great ideas and great solutions. If you don't get... Children should be trained to be bored, because in life there will be a lot of desert crossings, moments in which doesn't happen anything. But it means that you are now in a space for rethinking, for reflecting, or for what the Italians say, dolce far niente, doing nothing. In Chinese is the wu wei, the no action. And you must be in peace, not doing nothing, and it doesn't happen anything. There are moments in life that should be like that.
Yeah, thank you. So it's time for us to wind up this interview. It was indeed a pleasure to have a conversation with you. It was really thought-provoking and insightful. So I wish you both all the very best for your upcoming works, and stay safe during this lockdown period. And I would like to show the Malayalam translated version of Ikigai.
It's beautiful.
Very beautiful, with the sakura. With the
they have used the same color and same design, or more or less. It looks like
very beautiful.
Love it.
So to all the Malayali audience, this pustakam DC Books in online store available aanu. Vaangikam. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
See you.
Have a very happy good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.